We took a shot and it paid off.
This year, we are shooting for close to almost 100,000 just the last 2 months. I'm not selling this person. I'm having a conversation with this person, and that's what clicked for me.
By week 2, you had helped us increase our existing rates, and that paid for the program.
My revenue went from $8K a month to about 18 to 20K a month. Just do it. There's no better time to invest in yourself.
Well, hello. My name is Charles Lykoff. I run Profit Surge Group. We help accountants, bookkeepers, and tax professionals start, scale, and grow a profitable fractional CFO firm. I'm here with Andy and Caryn. They own a bookkeeping and fractional CFO business. They're located in Arizona. We've been working together for about 6 months together, and I wanted to talk a little bit about their experience, growing their business, getting fractional CFO clients, and growing it. Hey guys, welcome. Appreciate you being here.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you.
So do me a favor. I know you guys really, really, really well. We spent the last 6 months together, but people who are watching this, they have no idea who you are. So tell me a little about yourself, your guys' background, your business. What do you guys do?
Sure, I'll start. My name is Caryn Silvius, and I am the owner of Olive Branch Bookkeeping, Inc. I have been doing bookkeeping for over 18 years. It's all I know. But owning a business, we've only been business owners since 2018, so fairly new at it, if you will. And we just found ourselves struggling with this bookkeeping business.
Yeah. So my role inside of Olive Branch Bookkeeping is handling business development. So growing, making sure that the appointments are flowing in for sales, making sure that our back-end systems are working, and have all of our social media and marketing on point. And definitely one of the problems we had early on before we start working with you was getting enough qualified appointments in the door, and then struggling with pricing, being kind of across the board, trying to be competitive with other bookkeeping and accounting firms, and that seemed to be kind of a problem for a while.
Okay. So I noticed you guys do something a little bit different. Your husband-wife combo. Caryn, what do you do that Andy doesn't? Like you guys kind of tackle different parts of the business or?
Yeah, so I basically do all the financial stuff and he does all the operations. So he does the marketing and he helps with systems and processes in our like day to day with our employees, all that onboarding stuff. And I do like client work, I deal with the finances, I offer all the services our firm does, bookkeeping, payroll, cleanups, all that stuff. So that's what we do.
Okay. So you focus on more of the doing and Andy's on the doing of like the deliverables and Andy's more of like the marketing kind of ops guy, right?
Yep. And I do the sales as well for the company. Andy doesn't usually do the sales because he doesn't understand the business like I do. And I've been doing this a long time. So when people come to me with questions that they need answered or like things that they're unsure of to do in their business financially, then I'm able to look into my deep knowledge brain and go, okay, this is what I would do. This is what I wouldn't do. This is what we can offer you. Here's what we can do. And I kind of tailor their plan to fit their needs while we're on the call. But he wouldn't be able to do that.
Gotcha. So usually when I think of like marketing and sales, sometimes they go kind of hand in hand. And it's really interesting that the marketing part of the business is run by one person, but the sales part of the business is run by the other person.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it sounds like it's worked for you guys so far.
Yes. Yeah.
It has. And I have a background in sales from a previous role in real estate. And so while I could do it, like she explained, she has a deeper knowledge of the actual services that we offer. My focus is more on making sure that our messaging is tailored to our audience and making sure that the appointments getting booked are actually shown up to the calls for her. And making sure that things are running smoothly for our team.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. So I know you guys have been in business for a little bit, kind of growing it together. You guys have done other businesses. I know you're bigger into real estate earlier. So before you guys came to us, right? Tell me a little bit about like your business, kind of where you are before. If you want to share specifics of numbers, cool. If not, like no big deal. Tell me a little bit before we started kind of working together. So like services you're offering, revenue.
Yep.
Kind of paint me a picture here.
Before we came to you, I can't remember how many clients I had. I want to say it was like 20 clients or something like that. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough. And I think we were probably at 8,000 monthly revenue. from ongoing, and we only offered bookkeeping, cleanup, and payroll, and not very many payroll either. And I want to say my base price was $350 a month.
Gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're doing about 8K a month. No fractional CFO, no tax, just like bookkeeping, payroll, right? Okay. And I mean, $8,000 a month, like that's not nothing, right? Like you can definitely, depends on where you live, maybe not South Florida, but like you can definitely pay the bills on that. What like what were motivating you to do more than that? Like what was the problem with that?
The people that we were getting were demanding a lot more of my firm, and they wanted full service. And at the rate I was charging them, it didn't make sense. I was going over hours for not just myself, my employees. I had employees, have employees, and I was paying them more than I was getting paid. And it was
Gosh.
like, I just kept feeling like I was in this rat race of like, how do I get more clients? How do I do all this stuff and still offer everybody what I'm offering them? And I had a lot of clients that they were getting CFO services, but I wasn't charging them. So it was like, I didn't even understand that I was giving them CFO services before I talked to you. And you're like, dude, you're giving all the goods away. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I am. And then like I was way undercharging them, then they were taking advantage of that.
We also are in the business of talent. Like we need to recruit talent for our team. And so every time we'd bring on more and more bookkeeping clients, that meant that we needed to increase staff. And so we could never really jump ahead in profit margins for the business. So like while we're talking about $8,000 in revenue, that's top line, not profit. So that becomes a struggle when you continue having more and more employees having to get stacked on.
Okay. I got you. That makes sense. So it sounds like you're in this kind of hamster wheel of get some new clients, get some more staff, try and keep said staff, which is, always hard, and wasn't really kind of doing it for you. I'm assuming you guys were working more than 40 hours a week at that time.
God, yeah, there was times, especially during tax season, I weekends, late at night, just whenever I could.
Okay. So it's yeah, I can see why you're like, all right, let me do something different.
Yeah.
Um there's a whole bunch of options out there when you're thinking about like if you go on the internet, everyone and their dog is like, I can make you a millionaire tomorrow for free.
Yeah.
Right? There's all the things out there from selling Amazon and drop shipping and start a fractional CFO business and like all the things, right? Clearly, you're focusing on like how do I do more and better of what you're currently at. But like out of all the options you could have chosen for like your path forward, why was it fractional CFO? And then like why did you what stuck out to you about like us?
I think I can answer
So
this one.
yeah, I'll let you
So
start.
I actually discovered you guys through, because again, part of business development was like, okay, how do we offer different services? Like those are things I'm thinking about. Like, how do we do different things? So she's focused on client work. I'm trying to figure out like, how do we become more profitable and just make more money and bring more appointments in? I had come across an ad of yours. I think what stuck out to me as soon as I went through some of the landing pages on those ads was your messaging was the exact opposite of all the gurus you see online. It was, this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is for accountants and bookkeepers that want to add a service line to their business that can increase their hourly rate. And to me, it just felt more authentic. We've definitely, I'm sure as many people who run a business these days have hired coaches and hired other people. And they, early on when you first start a business, you think, oh, I'm going to follow these people that tell you can be a millionaire in 6 months. Like that's not realistic. And we know that now, like years later after running businesses. But yeah, yours felt more authentic. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about CFO work. And so once I looked into what you were talking about and what the actual fractional CFO offer was, it was like, look, I brought it to Caryn and said, you're already doing this. You're literally already doing these things. And let's talk to them.
Yeah, and I'll have to point out too, we have worked with a coach before for this business, and then my husband's worked with coaches before in real estate, and we just never felt like we were understood or guided in the right direction, and it just was very frustrating. So when he brought this to me, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, "Oh God, we're going down the same route we just got
Yeah.
out of. Like we've just hired a coach. We spent thousands of dollars with him and got zero results. Like." But then when we sat down and talked, with your sales rep, because we didn't talk to you, actually. We talked to somebody else, and he had explained to us, like, hey, our guarantee is that we're going to work with you until we get you to X, Y, and Z. And it was like, okay, so I felt safe, like there was a safety net, and that, like, okay, that can build trust between me and Charles, and let's see what he's got going on. Like, once we spent the money, it was like, okay, the money's gone. That's not the issue. It's how do I get the results? Because I don't care about spending the money if I can get the results. And you were like, well, we're going to get you the results. And that's what made me feel like, okay.
I think by week two, you had helped us increase just our existing rates before adding any new service line, and that paid for the program.
Yep.
Yeah, not bad.
2 weeks in.
Yeah,
Yep.
everything else after that's free money.
Yeah.
Worked with a couple other people, not the best experience here. I mean, fractional CFO is kind of esoteric. There's not a million people out there offering it. It's not nearly as cool as, become a dropshipping millionaire or anything like that.
No Lambos, right?
I love those ads. Yeah. Maybe I don't think my ads would do as well if I put Lambos in the mini house.
Lambos and tigers.
I love it. Let's do it.
I don't know if the tiger would fly at my house either. I don't think my dog would like that. So you decide to jump in. You're like, look, if I can get the results, any investment's worth it, right? As long as they're correlated. What really stuck out to you? So what particularly helped you guys get to where you are? So you started about $8K a month. We raised our prices first weekend. Like, of course, program's already paid for itself. Where did you end up, right? So I know we've been working together 6 months together. Can you give us like a snapshot of like where we were versus where we are?
Yeah. Let's see here. I think my revenue went from 8K a month to about 18 to 20K a month, I want to say, where I'm currently sitting. And I've had quite a few CFO clients, a couple of them that are just now ending their CFO program to where they'll move on to recurring, which will bring my recurring up from where it's currently sitting. And then I don't even know. From those CFO clients, I've done probably $100,000 worth of cleanup jobs and signed on payroll people. So really good revenue wise. And I will say my confidence has been built. I remember coming in the first few days and going over like sales training with you and being and not just sales training, like the sales training. And then like you pushed me to do my ad, and I did. I dragged my feet for a while, but I finally did it. But I remember you being like, dude, it's good. Like, I guarantee you're in your head more than anyone else is thinking about this. And then going over the sales calls and stuff really built my confidence up, because I used to be scared about reviewing them, and I still get nervous.
It's normal.
But I like writing it down and hearing other people's perspectives, because it's like, oh, you're right, I should have done this. Or like as I'm in the call, I'll get off and I'll go, dang, I already know Charles is going to say this about it. And like, it's like a back of my mind all the time. So it's definitely built my confidence up for sure.
So let's talk about that. You went from 8 to 18 to 20K a month. So there's a $10,000 gap there. You sold a lot of one-off services.
Yeah.
Right. Overall, what have you guys collected total cash in maybe like the last 2 months?
The last 2 months, we almost 100,000 just the last 2 months.
Okay. So you maybe went from 8 to 18 recurring, but in the last 2 months, you've also pulled in 100 grand in cash.
Yep. Cleanup jobs and CFO work. And then that doesn't include the recurring ongoing stuff.
Okay.
That I'll be closing in the next few weeks.
Gotcha. So way more than 10 extra investment so far. Okay. So got in, started working with us, 10 extra money going in, went through sales calls, built up your fractional CFO offer. Here, let's talk about the confidence part, because I think a lot of our audience struggles with the confidence. What they don't realize is like the business owner needs them. They need the skill. You can kind of roll your face across the keyboard and do a better job than the business owner because you're the finance expert, not them.
Yeah.
And you don't need a super high level of experience. You have most of the experience, maybe not all, but you have most. Let's talk about the confidence piece, because we can build you a really cool offer and a really cool CFO package and build you the best ads and VSL and get a sales call. But if you don't feel confident in it, it's not going to translate in the sales call. You're not going to be able to do services. Where did you get that confidence from?
From you beating me down? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Andy, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she should say that.
No.
No, so I have always struggled with confidence. It's always been something and I was very open with you the very first meeting that we had that I struggled with the confidence aspect of it. But the more we dug into all the different like workshops that you have us do before you like set us free, just built it up more and more. And as I practiced and as I got into sales calls and failed a few of them, of course, some people would get in their heads about it. And I did. Like, there was plenty of times I talked to Andy and was like, I don't know if I can do this, man. And he's like, you got this. But the more we talked about it and the more you like said, here's where I would do this, here's what I would do that. And you give me pointers, it was like, you know what? I'm not selling this person. I'm having a conversation with this person and figuring out what's wrong. And that's what clicked for me to go, this is not a sales call. This is just a conversation. Have confidence. Just talk to them like I would talk to a friend. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, that sounds like it's a lot easier because when you think of sales call, I don't even like the word sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a consultative process. It's let's dive into your financials. Let's see what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can fix it because maybe we can't. Maybe we're not the best
Right.
solution.
Right.
Okay, we don't
Yep.
get that person to sign up. Like if I can't help you, I'm not going to introduce you to something.
Yep.
See if it's a good fit. Go over the problem, explore into it, present the solution, and then help them understand it. Because oftentimes, I find in this offer, and I still do the fractional CFO work. When someone doesn't sign up with us, it's because they don't understand. Because I don't sell anything, whether it be fractional CFO services or this, that doesn't make you more than it costs you. So if you don't get in, it's just an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Clarifying their understanding, man, that takes some work.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
I have something to add too, and I'm not sure if it aligns enough with your question, but I think it's worth mentioning that prior to joining you, we were kind of feeling hopeless at moments. Like we'd go through these spurts where it's like, okay, we're going to get on track. We're going to get this done. We're going to bring in more clients, this and that. But we struggled with the like, how are we going to grow this into a big business where we can actually afford to bring on the talent that we need in our business and grow the way we want to? And so I think just like realizing that there was a different or an additional path or service we could add on that did like increase our rates like that gave us it was a big light at the end of the tunnel. Like, wow, okay. It gave us more excitement about the business where before it was just like, is it worth it? And I think there's a lot of people who probably run an accounting firm or bookkeeping or whatever financial service that are probably working a ton of hours for not a lot of pay, relative. And I think it just gets discouraging after a while. So when we met with you and got this all established, it felt like there was just a lot more excitement about, oh wow, we can do this and we can grow it and we can make a lot more money and we can serve a lot more clients in a better way.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge transformation from I don't know how we're going to get through this to, hey, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but there's actually a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like there's a big goal. And I remember we got dinner like a month or so ago, and you guys were telling me your goals for the end of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were doing in last year, you were telling me you were at $8,000 a month. We've collected over 100 grand in not even 6 months. In 2 of those 6 months, we've collected over 100 grand. You have your big goal. Do you want to share what your big goal is for the end of 2025? Is that something you're comfortable with?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
So my current 2024 year, I ended at around 250,000. This year we are shooting for close to $1 million.
Okay, that's 4x.
Yeah.
For non math majors in the room here. How the hell are you going to get there?
We're gonna grind and
A lot of sales calls.
a lot of
A lot of
sales
sales
calls,
calls.
like 8 to 9 sales calls a day, trying to close. I mean, we built out a sales tracker with you to see how many calls we need to take, and then reverse engineer it to how many calls we can close to hit those numbers, and bringing on staff, constantly looking to hire people all the time, and just fulfillment.
I think that's probably the biggest problem people are going to have facing. They're going to figure out how to make a lot of money and bring a lot more clients in, then they're going to have a different problem,
Yeah,
which is talent.
it's always something.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be something.
Yep.
Most people don't get to the point where they break their business and need help with talent.
Yeah.
Right. We got you leads coming in. getting sales calls, not a problem. Closing sales calls, also not a problem. Now it's the fulfillment that you guys are kind of running into the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And what have we done to like help you guys solve that? Like let's talk about that, because I know when we first started working together, our conversations were one flavor and one style, and we're
Yeah.
working on something completely different now.
Oh yeah, it's changed.
Yeah, we back in I think November timeframe, October. No, it was October. Back in October, I was getting so stressed out with like fulfillment on my end, and I had two data entry people at the time, and I said, I think I need to hire another me, a senior bookkeeper. And you were like, okay, let's look at that. And so we looked at the numbers, we looked at, what does that mean? And then we put an ad out, and we we have hired two senior bookkeepers. They have since left, but we just hired another girl, and we're looking at another data entry person, and we're constantly talking to you about, what does that look like for our business? Like, how do we keep fulfilling that without breaking down at 100% max? And you're like, you just need to always have people in the back of your mind all the time. Just constantly always have a roster of people for senior bookkeepers, for data entry, for whatever position you have. Just constantly talk to people, constantly try to get them into your business and let them know, like, hey, we're not hiring yet, but can I keep this on file? That way, when we are hiring, we can reach back out to you and see if you're able and willing. And I think that has been big for us, because if I didn't have that in place, when I had senior bookkeepers leave and I'm like frantic, like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I wouldn't have had a plan to fall back on. And we did. We had a plan, and within a week, we're rehiring somebody else. We were
Yeah.
only down a couple days.
Right. So you've only lost a couple days in your grand plan to get to that million stretch.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So-
think it's nice because you have the experience. I mean, you have your own teams as well. So I think, we came to you for a problem of fixing, creating an offer and adding a line of revenue. But we're always confident when we have an issue. We're like, hey, Charles, what would you do in this situation? And you're able to help.
Appreciate that. So
Yeah.
one of the things you guys mentioned, depends upon who's listening to this. If you mentioned trying to make $1 million a year, you said 8 sales calls a day.
Yeah.
So I have done that. Now I have a team that does that. Thank the Lord.
And we'll need a team
But-
for that.
Yeah.
You will. That's
Yeah.
our
We'll
next
get
thing
there.
we're going to work on for you.
Yep.
Guys. We'll help you get a sales team. We'll train them. But the thing is, that sounds terrifying to some people listening, and that sounds like let's go to other people. There's only two options there, right? To someone who, again, and like 6 months ago, you guys were $8,000 a month, and now you're like, I'm going to do $1 million a year. I'm hiring a sales team. Let me get more people in the staff. I take XYZ number of sales calls a day. That's an insane shift in thinking, in mindset, in growing your business. For some people, that sounds like, wow, Caryn Andy, smartest people in the world ever. They got something different, blah, blah, blah. Like when I think about it, that sounds extraordinary. And it is. You guys have put in a lot of work, and I don't want to discredit that.
We haven't gotten there yet, though. So we got to get to $1 million before you it's a goal, but we're not there.
You guys are on your way.
Yeah.
You guys are on your way for sure. But the amount of mindset shift that you've been able to have and do over relatively a short amount of time, and the scope of our lives, 6 months is air. It's dust. It doesn't exist. How has your life changed over the last 6 months?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to even describe it. It's nice. It's nice. I feel stressed out in times. Like, obviously this last week we lost a girl. So I had a moment.
She quit. She didn't die. Just
She didn't die. She just vanished out of thin air. She's gone. And so it was stressful. But I think what is nice is being able to lean on you and be like, hey, I feel like, what did we do wrong? You're like, dude, it happens. Like, that's business. It happens. And it's like, in our mind, I know it happens, but I'm not thinking logically in those moments. And so it's nice to be able to come to someone who is like an outside perspective that goes, just think logically. And I have to say that has been the biggest blessing of all of this, is just being able to have somebody as a third party that's not as deeply emotionally attached to my business that can be like, hey, You need to like figure your stuff out, get some more sales calls. You got goals, you've got things you need to do. I'm here to push you. I'm also here to tell you you're doing things right. And I'm also here to say, look, this stuff happens. It's business. It's okay. And you're not just hard on making sure I'm a machine. You're also there as like a friend to be like, hey, you're doing great. You
No,
know?
but here's the thing, because I'm usually the one that helps push Caryn. And
Yeah.
even I was like, okay, we backed off of some sales. We got to get this back on track. And Charles was like, that's great. Get on track. And you need to get back in the game. So let's
He's
do
like, I'll
this.
give you this week. I'll give you this week,
Yeah.
but like you should turn those ads back on. And I was like, fuck, all
But
right,
as business
cool.
owners, I
Cool.
think, especially with big goals, it's easy to allow drawbacks or setbacks to kind of hinder
Consume.
you or paralyze you
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yep.
And then, sometimes people don't get out of those moments. I've faced that myself in other roles like real estate and other businesses I've run, where big challenge comes up and it's easy to be like, okay, well, I'm dealing with this problem, but then you allow it to just bleed in for months at a time, or you allow it to drag out. And so having someone to say, hey, take time to get it fixed, but let's also get back on track as quickly as possible, because you're going to lose momentum if you don't.
I think about like this prior CFO still doing fractional CFO work. We can change the goal or we can change the plan. I hate changing my goals.
No, yeah. Too stubborn for that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we change the plan.
Yep.
And it's funny, sometimes, even with you guys, it's completely like not something that we talk about. Like in that realm, I kind of am your fractional CFO. I'm like, pull up your stats, let's look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Cost per call is good, close rate's good. Let's do this to keep growing. And I know, because I've worked across you and a couple hundred other people, if we make some of those changes, if we take that break or we take that lull, well, it's going to be a lot harder to get to our goal. So do we change the goal or do we change the plan?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a level of emotional intelligence that like gets applied to that.
Mm-hmm.
There, I probably need to go to more therapy, but I'm like, I hate changing my goal.
Yeah.
Like
No, I
I
agree.
will drag myself through mud, razor blades, and glass, but we are not changing the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And for some entrepreneurs, that's fine. They can change the goal, but I think I'm kind of wired incorrectly in like a good way. So I'm if you want someone to hold you to standards to do really well, I'm excellent. If you don't want that, don't
Don't
sign up.
call me.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, I will make you more money and you will like it.
You will like it.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
So if somebody's watching this right now, right, going through the interview, listening to our conversation, if they're on the fence about working with us, right, if they're on the fence about maybe booking a call with us, like what would you guys say to them?
Just do it. That's it.
I've,
Like
I've,
literally, just do it. Like there's no better time to invest in yourself. Like you just sometimes it's scary and change is hard, but change is inevitable if you want to see something better in your life. You cannot do the same thing expecting a different result. So do
yeah,
it.
I would say my answer is going to be a little longer. I have seen testimonials like this from other services, and I always get very hesitant because I'm like, okay, are they paid to do this or that? Like, you don't really know the backstory, right? So if somebody comes across wherever you post this and they go, okay, well, what's the incentive for them to do this? Honestly, the incentive for us is like, we were terrified to hire another coach. We've had coaches in our real estate company. We had a coach early on uh, where we didn't see the results. And so to spend money, you know, for somebody else, it was just like, man, are we going down the same path? And we took a shot. It was a risk, not really knowing you guys personally, and it paid off. And so I think a lot of people, when you're on the fence, it's easy to come up with all the reasons why you shouldn't do things. But if you're serious about growing your business, you have been the biggest shift for us to be able to continue growing. And people got to realize they got to put in the work. There is a lot
Mm-hmm.
of work that's involved, but you can help them get there. And so my advice is same as Caryn, like, don't allow the fear to control you, and take the leap, and it will pay you back tenfold.
Yeah, and the first couple weeks are the hardest weeks in this program. It's, just like in my CFO program, it's the first few weeks are tough. They're hard. They're a lot of hours. They're a lot of work, but we're proof it pays off. It does help.
Well, Charles can't get rid of us now. Like we're
No, yeah, we're family for
said that
life.
to me
Like,
too.
even
by
if
the way.
Charles Charles says like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. We're stopping the program. Like, well, too bad. I'll show up at his house.
yeah,
That's how it's gonna be.
we're keeping our Slack turned on, so we're not going anywhere.
I really appreciate it, guys. It has been such a joy to work with you guys over the last 6 months, and like seeing you guys grow. And growth is a roller coaster, right? It's not like,
Mhm.
you know, a straight linear line. It's a roller coaster, but the ups are exponential.
Mhm.
And going through that process, right? It's been really cool to see the changes in mindset and the changes in shift. And it's like we go from not doing a lot of online marketing stuff to doing some online marketing stuff and getting comfortable on the camera and getting comfortable on sales calls. And those are skills that you have for life, right? If you were like, hey, I'm going to close my firm tomorrow and I'm going to go coach coaches to coach coaches for coaching, or whatever insane BS stuff.
Lambos and Tigers,
I
bud.
mean, that's half the people on the internet. Yeah. Right. Like, cool. If you want to go sell Lambos and Tigers tomorrow, like you could from the skills that you learned, which is how do I sell an expensive thing on the internet and deliver damn good service, right?
Well, case in point, I think not to just something that I want to launch is like I had the confidence after you helping us with this that I can go launch that thing now, just from seeing how things work and you guiding us in our one business. It gave me this like catalyst to go do my own thing too that I want to launch. So
yeah, and we're gonna set that up and we're gonna crush it. So I know we're totally out of time today. Super appreciate you guys being here. Caryn, Andy, if someone wants to reach out to you, interested in hiring your bookkeeping services, your accounting services, like where's the best place for them to reach out to you?
So there's a couple of spots. First would be our website, olivebranchbk.com, or you can go to just about any social media site and either look up Caryn Silvius, Caryn, or just look up Olive Branch BK. And Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, all the places. But Olive Branch BK, or just type in Olive Branch Bookkeeping Inc., and you'll find us.
Yeah, Google online is Olive Branch Bookkeeping Inc., North Idaho.
Perfect. Well, appreciate you guys being here. So if you've heard this testimonial, heard this interview, listened to their experience, and you're interested in learning more about fractional CFO, interested in growing your fractional CFO firm and getting results like them, understanding that it requires work, right? If you do no work, you get zero results.
100%.
Right? You do a lot of work, you're going to get a lot of results. Like life works like that. Working with someone like us is just press and fast forward. You never get the press skip, right? I wish you could. And so if you're looking for that, hit us up, profitsurgegroup.com, Profit Surge on Instagram, right? Reach out to us. My name is Charles Lykoff. So if you're interested, go reach out to us, talk to me, talk to my team, and we'll kind of walk you through what it looks like. But again, Caryn, Andy, super appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.